April 26, 1986. The night the world broke in Chernobyl. We all know the official story. The fire, the radiation, and the heroes who went into the dark to save humanity. But my grandfather was one of the liquidators, a concrete worker. And before he died, he told me a story that was never written in any official file. A story that still makes my pulse race. In the dead of night. It happened 3 months after the explosion. His team was working late near reactor number 4, pouring thick layers of concrete to build the sarcophagus. The air tasted like copper. The radiation meters were screaming. At midnight, the generator failed. Total, suffocating. Darkness swallowed the ruins. The workers stood frozen, and in that absolute silence, they heard it. A sound coming from deep inside the ruins of the reactor. It wasn't the shifting of metal. It wasn't the wind. It was a heartbeat. Thump, thump, thump. Massive, heavy, and terrifyingly alive. Then came the voices. Hundreds of dry, raspy whispers, echoing from behind the freshly poured concrete walls. My grandfather put his ear to the cold stone. He told me the concrete felt warm, like skin. The whispers grew louder, calling the workers by their names. Sergei, Alexei, come inside. The fire is beautiful. Join us. Suddenly, my grandfather's flashlight flickered back on. He aimed the beam at the wet concrete wall. His breath caught in his throat. Inside the semi-liquid gray mass, something was moving. Dozens of human faces were pressing outward from the inside of the wall, stretching the concrete like wet rubber. Their eyes were hollow pits. Their mouths were open in silent screams. But they weren't trying to escape. They were trying to pull the living in from the dark corner of the hall. A giant shadow began to rise. It had no shape, only 2 glowing, radioactive blue eyes. The Geiger counter in my grandfather's hand shattered from the sheer energy. "Run!" someone screamed. They dropped their tools and bolted toward the exit, ignoring the alarms. Behind them, the heavy, wet concrete sloshed and scraped against the floor, as if the wall itself was crawling after them. My grandfather survived, but every night until his final breath, he woke up drenched in sweat. He swore that if you go to Chernobyl at midnight and put your ear to the sarcophagus, you won't hear silence, you will hear them, still scratching from the inside, waiting for the concrete to crack.